All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. This is Pastor Dow. Hey, I am excited that people really, truly are enjoying this series, and that some way, somehow, if there was areas in your life that you probably never even considered, that this is helping a lot of you. I do appreciate your comments, whether they be pro or con. The ideal here is to communicate. The ideal here is to stimulate thought. I'm not trying to win anybody. All I am is a presenter of information. I can't do that. It's up to you. You're the one that's gonna have to exercise independent thinking. So, but with that said, I'm gonna go ahead and jump off in this article, and we're gonna get back on the collapse. And this is part 6. All right, here we are. We're dealing with points right here. Okay. Number 12. Is it too much work to bother with? Fact or answer? Even a person that is hardly an expert prepper who has stored up something will fare far better than 99% that have not. Simply picking up extra food and other supplies at the market each time and putting those into boxes in some isolated part of the home will add significant reserve supplies. This is very limited effort that will reap huge results. Win, and that's a big capital win. Win, you need it. You don't have to work that hard to put away a decent amount of what you need or what you will need someday. Hey, I have a law that works around here in the community, and of course, human. The human spirit always enters in, and it always default back to its last reset point. That's the reason why it's important that you spend time educating yourself, because until you are convicted, until you are clear, until you are personally accept this truth and understand it, you won't do anything. Even if you slip and you personally accept this truth, you will still continue. To do what you know is right. And most of us have not had a reset, period, whatsoever at all. We hear this, we get excited, and then we default back to our old nature and stuff. I have a law that any time that you go out, and especially if you go inside a grocery store, buy a big can for the community, and then buy a few cans, small cans for the home. And when you have too many of those, put it inside a community storage, because food is going to be something else. But now listen to me. You cannot survive just on beans and rice and stuff like that in canned goods. You're going to need other sources that contain a good mineral called salt in it in order to sustain yourself. Because if you give human beings, so you listen to me very closely, all right? If you give human beings, while their belly is full, if you give them beans 2 meals a day, 7 days a week, you're going to have morality problems. Because whether we like it, understand it or not, food plays a and it is very significant in our morale. If you sit down to a good meal and you enjoy that meal, it affects your day. And it affects your outcome and look on life. You sit down to a bad meal, you have to discern yourself. It's there to challenge your present character and nature, and you need to know this. Like I said, I'm here to present information. I'm here to present facts to you that most of you have never even entertained before in your life or never had the opportunity. And I can only hope that you just do not use this as some sounding board, but that you actually take action. Again, I can present all this information, but until you get clear and until you understand your own heart, until you educate yourself, it will mean nothing to you. You must become proactive. Let's go on to let's go on to 13, excuse me. I have absolutely no idea what to store, how much. Fact or answer? Well, what do you use each day and every week? This is what you want to store up. Buy your regular household staples in jars, bottles, or well-sealed packages for long-term storage. How much can be determined simply by asking yourself, how long do I want to be self-sufficient during a disaster? have a time frame, a month, 2 months, etc. And you should be able to easily determine how much of something you will use in a certain amount of time. And that is true. Let me give you an example. All right, the ideal is to have good protein, and one of the best protein sources that you can get is lentils. Lentils are a whole lot better than beans. They're loaded with good proteins. Now think about this. While they get small beans, you can actually allow your body to achieve some form of satisfaction for a longer period of time. Because in our mind, our body has things that we communicate. Think about it for a second. All right, if you're sitting around and you're not active whatsoever at all, what are you prone to do? I'm gonna tell you exactly what you're prone to do. You're prone to get up, and those receptors start firing in your mind, and the first thing it does, it looks for sugar, and sugar is a poison. And you start going through the cabinet or wherever you put that last candy bar or that chocolate or whatever it is that's bad for you. That's the first thing you look for. You don't look for a can of sardines. You don't look for going into the freezer if you have it in there and try to get some salmon out of there or fish and then go through the painstaking task of cooking. You're looking for something to give you satisfaction right then and there. Only one problem though, when you get finished eating it, all it's going to do is make you more hungry. It's going to kill your appetite for that which is good and that will sustain you, and you're going to look for that which is bad. And if you don't have any water on hand to help quell that appetite, you're really in trouble. And remember what I said before. It is one thing to drink in upwards, even now, a gallon of water a day, but you really truly need to actually start supplementing that water with some type of like a sea salt, a Himalayan sea salt or something like that, so that you can stay hydrated. And I really need to push that more. But if you just eat only beans, you're going to have problems on your hand, especially if you have a multitude of people around, 4 or 5 people. People who do not have self-control is prone to murmuring and complaining. And anytime you have a murmurer and a complainer or someone who champions themselves to be this kind of worker, and they're really truly not, it's going to start bringing challenges in. And our spirits, when somebody starts murmuring, especially if you're not a person of solution, it's there to actually start a rebellion in the camp. And the last thing you need is insurrection in the camp. Rebellion, it must quickly be stamped out. I mean quickly, because if not, it's going to cause those who will lead us a lot of trouble. And that's why spirituality is so important, because at least some form of discipline of spirituality. Of course, I believe I'm in the way. I'm a Hebrew. And I speak often about this warfare that we're in and being aware of it. Then that way you can understand your thoughts and your emotions and your feelings. And whenever these challenges arise, at least there's the word that can help you stop these impulses and help you to not cause a bad environment. Because whether we like it or not, it is so easy to murmur. It is so easy to complain. That is easy. It's so easy when you're lazy and you're not doing nothing to sit down and eat and spread. And this will bring a very bad environment. And it was going to cause a lot of trouble and problems. And leaders, you need to know that. But if you keep the people active, even during a crisis, if you keep them active and stuff, and I know because of just simply being a worker all my life. The brethren around here, we work. We work and we eat meals twice a day here on the community, and we're not interested in stopping and taking our lunch or break. We don't take lunch breaks and stuff like that. We may work and then they may sit down a few minutes, get back up and do it again. But it's amazing how work quells the appetite. It really truly does. That's the reason why I'm big on moving. And it's obvious when you see people, you look at their silhouette. It's obvious, and you can tell the people who really truly do not move much. There's something about the inherent nature of man that people are literally wise, and they would deal with you wisely. They are wise to do evil. Or in other words, they are wise to know how to get out of work, why, all types of excuses to circumvent work. There's even a spirit in man that rather than trying to learn to do things the right way, they will create an environment of non-caring, bad attitude. And what they would do is they would drag jobs down, or they would mess up stuff because they're not attentive. And then what that does is challenges the leader because of what you want them away from you before they tear up something else. And it's really working to the detriment of the whole. It really truly is. And that's the reason why, here at Straightway, we are very careful who we allow to become part of us. Even if you're outside of the conus of Straightway right here and you are scattered like the flock is all across the United States and parts of the world, you make yourself known, we're still very careful with you until we know you. Because, see, we are tested and we are proven and we are tried. The jury's not out deliberating with us. We've already made the sacrifice and we live it on a daily basis. And been doing it close to 2 decades. The jury is out on you, the people right here who have never, ever, ever lived in an environment to where you're constantly around other humans. And your will and your selfishness must be killed. The better and the good for the whole, which you will benefit from, has to be in play. It's not about you. It's not about you. And then the last thing you need is those who fancy themselves to be some type of leader, and then they push to get in leadership position, and they're not qualified nor are they ready. Because the leaders are the ones who are going to be the ones to determine who is qualified, not you, just because you're inflated in your mind and you believe yourself to be something. Most of you have character flaws and that you don't see. You're blinded to them. And leaders can see those things, and they're not about to set up and put somebody up in a position of leadership or in a supervisory capacity in order to be in front of the people, and they're trying to keep unity and stuff when you have division in your heart, division in your speech, you're contrary to the mission, you have your own agenda. Because, after all, this is not about the leader, it's not about the people, it's not about all these people who vainly puffed up. This is about the survival of the whole. And more than anything, it's about those children. It really truly is about those children because they have to be trained in the proper way, because one day, Pastor Dow is going to be old. And it's going to be the value system that they've learned from this community. And it's going to be the value system that they've learned from us. And our examples of watching us is going to determine how we, as when we get older, how we're going to fare based on the wisdom that we put in them. And we need some very educated people, I promise you. And you need to start thinking about that. And that's the reason why I'm very careful how I treat the older people, the gray-headed people. Some of them may not think that I am, but I am very careful. I'm not going to cater to their every little whim. I'm not going to cater to their every little complaint and things that they try to hide under the radar, because some of them have never lived a life of discipline and have no idea what discipline is. But I am going to do everything I can to help them. And sometimes that help they may not consider as help, but I will make the best decision for many of them who are a part of us. Anyway, I don't need any protection after a disaster. The police, National Guard, and military will protect us. Oh boy. Fact or answer. Even those that don't like firearms should consider owning one. The larger the distance between an attacker and your family, the less chance that someone you love will get injured or killed. Let me stop right there just for a second. Many of us, we carry firearms. We carry a pistol, but a pistol is not our primary weapon. This is the primary weapon. This is the reach out and touch, and this is the keep you away from us weapon, simply because a rifle, you can keep your enemy at bay for a longer period of time. And not only that, it's more lethal and more powerful than a pistol is. A pistol is there for close quarters, but let me give you an example. Let's say Sometimes I carry my rifle in my vehicle, and I probably shouldn't offer that information, but nevertheless, I'm legal after the system, so I don't worry about too much. Because if you know the laws, even of the land and stuff, you have nothing to worry about. But anyway, your pistol, if you ever find yourself engaged in some type of hostile altercation, and it makes no difference who or what it may be or whatever it is, your pistol is only there. It's just a firearm for you to fight, pow, 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 to get back to this. You need to have this primarily in your heart and mind. I mean, you can hold 20 and 30 rounds in this thing. You can only hold like 8 to 15 rounds in a pistol. But you'll be a lot more accurate with this. You have more self-control, and you have a little bit more room for variance and stuff as far as accuracy. But accuracy and reliability and stuff, hey, this right here, I'm telling you. Remember, your pistol is just a defense mechanism for you to fight to get to this. Do y'all understand? All right. I'm trying. Okay. All right. There are some real psychos out there that will certainly take advantage of the lawlessness that come with no police or military force. How many police does your city have per citizens? This ratio is one golden reason to have self-protection before, during, and after a disaster. There may be no way of reaching law enforcement, even if there are available after the true disaster, as well as cell towers and phone lines may be fried for whatever reason. First of all, you need to understand the true nature of the police force. And I have some bad news for you people out there. The police force or law enforcement, they are not designed to protect you. I know that you are under an illusion. I know you are. Think about this. 99% of the time, police get to the crime scene. The crime is already done. They are not going to be there when someone wants to do you evil or take advantage of you or perpetuate injustices on you. They're not going to be there. Personal defense, self-defense is solely up to you. It is your own personal responsibility. Many of you are so deceived, you're going to pick up the phone and dial 911, and you're going to be dying waiting for the police to come. And in an environment like this, a situation like this, you can forget about it. You have become the sheriff, you have become the judge, you have become the jury, and the executioner when it comes to defending yourself, your family, and your home front. And my advice is that you start spending some time learning how to be very familiar with not only just a pistol and a rifle. You need to have a multitude of experiences on different firearms, because you just never know what type of environment you find yourself in. And you women out there, when you have a world without rule of law, there are lawless people out here. And I mean, you think about it. Let's just look at a major city. A major city will spend $400 million a year. $400 million a year just to try to deter crime and those who are lawless and those who don't want to be civil in a civilized environment. Have you ever thought about that for a reason? And you thought about that. And these lawless people, rather than dealing with them justly and wisely, this broke system that we have gives them three squares and a cot. So therefore, it does not deter any rebellion whatsoever at all. Now contrast that to a world without rule of law. Are you going to think about housing someone that wants to come and rape your wife? Because you're going to get a mob of about 4 or 5 guys together who have no spirituality, no conviction, and don't care about anything. And you know what they're going to do? I'm going to tell you exactly what they're going to do. If you are by yourself, and let's say you have a wife, and you have 2 teenage daughters and a smaller son, they're going to look at that as an opportunity to overrun you. And the first thing they're going to do is kill you, because they know that their resistance coming from the female side of this is going to be little to none. So they're going to kill you, and they're going to make sex slaves out of your wife and your daughters. And they're going to kill the boy. Unless they're perverts today and they're boy lovers. They probably take the boy nowadays over your wife and over the girls. I mean, it's just a type of sick environment that we live in today. There's pedophiles out there. You need to teach your wives. You need to teach your daughters how to protect and how to defend themselves in all type of situations and environments. And I know that sometimes we get caught up in the hustle and bustle of life and stuff, but I tell you what, it really truly is almost good. And I need to really put it in my heart even more so, even though we have so much going on. But I really truly need to spend more time pouring more wisdom and more knowledge at least once a week, even if it's only for 30 to 40 minutes. I remember some time ago, I was trying my best to get the saints ready in the dining hall. You know, I'm trying my best to get their mind changed. Now, mind you, I can present information to you, but I cannot change your mind. I come into the dining hall and I spent 2 hours preaching and teaching the importance of, if you see someone with a knife, holler gun. If you see someone with a sword, holler gun. If you see someone with a hatchet, holler gun. And then those who we have designated to be able to eliminate the threat, let them do their job and hope. And you only can hope that these men are disciplined enough that they don't get excited, overexcited, and get into some type of crossfire and start killing all the good people. Oh, mercy. That's why you have to practice until it becomes nature. And when you practice until it becomes nature and stuff, then you'll up your ability to be able to respond quicker and faster, and you will not shoot the good guy. You'll shoot the bad guy. And even if they have a gun, even in the tabernacle, you know, somebody is some type of threat, holler gun. Why? And then I teach them, first thing you do, women and children, get down. And while women and children are down, those women who are carrying firearms, they are, guess what? They're putting themselves in a ready position and they're looking around. And we already have people designated to be able to take care and eliminate a threat if it becomes very hostile after we give a couple of warnings. And we only give one warning, and that's it. And so I spent all this time, I went through a drill, I showed them and stuff, and I know that for the time being, while we're sitting there, they meant well. I gave it a few months later, I came in the dining hall, I hollered, "God!" real loud and stuff. And you know what people did? They sit and looked at me. Some of them after they figured out what I was stating to them, it triggered. Oh, let me get down on the ground. Do you think that the perpetuator of evil is going to sit there and leave you sitting up in their seat? They're going to try to eliminate everybody that they can. But I was like, man, this is, you know, when I was in the military, I was a paratrooper, okay? And by the time you had got to the level of discipline, the type of unit that I was in, and make no mistake about it, there's a difference between regular Army soldiers, people who didn't field artillery, and just regular Army. You know, there's a difference between those regular Army, regular Marines, regular Navy, or whatever you want to call it, as opposed to those who have special skill identifiers, because, you know, they live, they breathe, they train this stuff daily. I mean, there's something always in a training schedule to train. So there's a difference between those who in Delta Force, Special Forces, U.S. Army paratroopers, i.e. the 82nd Airborne Division, Joint Readiness Training Center. They really, truly are trained OPFORs because they do this stuff all of the time. Navy SEALs, Force Recon, snipers, Rangers, snappers. I mean, I can go on and on and on and on. These people only possess less than 2% of the armed forces. That's not much. That is not much at all. And those are different qualities of soldiers, different qualities of soldier. And I have this task that then these civilians, they just simply, they don't think like disciplined soldiers. They simply don't. And I realize this. And it's just it's a bad situation. It really, truly, it's a very sad situation. A soldier, he thinks a little bit different. And I'm not telling you that soldiers are better, but for instance, somebody like myself, somebody like especially Pastor Fox, I'm going to give you a difference. If we get shot somewhere, we're not just going to roll over and lay down on the ground. We're going to fight to our dying breath. The only way that we're going to roll over is if we get shot in the heart or something like that and we literally can't move. But if we can move, I promise you, as long as we're moving, we have breath in our body, we will fight to the dying breath. If a civilian gets shot, pow, they're going to fall down on the ground. Oh. Some of you trip and fall. You finished. Oh. Some of you trip and fall. Oh, I can't move. And you want everybody to come run to your position. Oh, mercy. Again, there are soldiers right now scattered all across this land. You forget about mainstream news media who is deceiving you, ain't telling you nothing. But there are soldiers. That's the reason why our government hates veterans so much, because after all, they are the ones who trained us. And it's up to us to keep up our heightened sense of awareness. And so that's the reason why they want to, classify veterans as psychopaths, people who have been inside these war zones and stuff like that. And I had somebody tell me, a civilian told me this one time. They said, you're the type of person that only needs to be bought out in time of war. We should actually put you in a box and says break the glass only in time of war. I'm not going to tell you what I said to him because I'm sure children are watching this. But it's a sad situation. It really, 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 truly is. And you look at Obama. He promised in his first term of office right here that he was going to develop a civilian military. And most of us like, man, where are he going to do that? Well, look at your local sheriff's department and local police department. I mean, the SWAT team is out there. They already suited and booted. Now everybody's commandos. Now everybody is dressed in military garb and force. Do you think them people are dressing up for terrorists or they're dressing up for us? Because the American citizens, we are the ones that is experiencing tyranny and terrorists at the hands of so-called, quote unquote, law enforcement. Again, the best tool is education. And that's not going to get a degree or going into one of their classes. It's self-education. You need to find a very informed veteran and let him teach you. And then not only when they teach you, you start practicing this stuff yourself. And you get this stuff in your heart and you believe it. You'll believe it. Now, I know when you believe the doctrine when you start doing it. And then I'm not saying that, you have to have a special skill identifier. You got to be a nutcase like me, jumping out of airplanes, rappelling out of helicopters and all kind of other crazy junk and all that other stuff. I'm not saying you have to do that. What I'm saying is you need to discipline yourself. I mean, Elder Doug, a very disciplined and sound mind man. He could have easily went into the military and been a very damn good soldier. But his mind, the way it functions, he's right there. He's right there with myself and Pastor Fox. He's right there. And Pastor Fox would be the one that would be someone that could teach you even onto a greater level of capacity than I could. But Elder Doug is right there. He just has that soberness, that soundness, that discipline, and that sensitivity about him. Every brother don't have that in his ministry. I have some hard-headed people in his ministry. I've told people stuff once, twice, 3, 4, 5, and they still don't get it. You know the reason why? Because the threat of the situation and heat is not on the ass, so therefore they fall into this dissidence. You know what I mean? It's called cognitive dissidence and normacy bias. And I'm gonna leave all that alone for right now. Go back in the videos. Oh, mercy. Man, I went off again on commentary, didn't I? I tell you what, we'll come back part 7, another 30-minute video. I'm just trying my best to do whatever I can to present real, true information so that you do not die because of your own stupidity, ignorance, and lack of self-control. Y'all be encouraged. We'll be back here with part 7 here. I don't know when, but anyway, I hope y'all enjoy these videos. Pass this series along to somebody a friend. Even if I forget about Pastor Dow and my religious preference and belief, throw all that away and listen to the information that is presented to you and educate yourself and start doing something about it, damn it.